Good morning, Europe. It's Wednesday, the 27th of April. I'm Raul San. It's great to have you with us. Let's take a look at our top stories.
Russia cuts off gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria. Ukraine accuses Moscow of starting its blackmail of Europe. Fears of Russian intervention in Moldova after new attacks in the separatist region of Transnistria. And Brussels warns Elon Musk that Twitter will have to comply with European digital regulations.
Polish and Bulgarian officials say Moscow is cutting off natural gas deliveries to the two countries from Wednesday due to their refusal to pay for them in rubles. They were informed of the decision by the Russian state-owned company Gazprom. The cut-off will hit supplies to Poland through the Yamal-Europe pipeline via Belarus and to Bulgaria via the Turk Stream pipeline. Poland has been receiving some 9 billion cubic metres annually, around 45% of its needs. Europe, especially Germany, buys large amounts of Russian natural gas, but Moscow had threatened to stop supplying what it called unfriendly countries over their support for Ukraine unless they paid in rubles rather than the usual euros or dollars. From September, Bulgaria plans to reduce reliance on Moscow by importing cheaper gas from Azerbaijan via a connector running through Greece. The pipeline is in the final stages of construction and tests are already underway. Russian company Lukoil Neftechim uses the oil port and refinery in Bulgaria's eastern city of Burgas on the Black Sea. It operates through another Russian company, Litasco, registered in Switzerland, that so far allowed it to avoid sanctions.
New attacks in Moldova's separatist region of Transnistria are raising fears of Russian intervention. Two explosions rocked a radio facility on Tuesday, 12 kilometers west of the Ukrainian border. They followed several blasts on Monday in the strip where some 1,500 Russian troops are based. Ukraine has expressed concern and warned of a Russian attempt to drag the breakaway region into the war.
We clearly understand that this is one of Russia's steps. The special forces are working there. It's not just about fake news. And the reason is clear. In order to destabilize the situation in the region, to threaten Moldova by showing that if Moldova supports Ukraine, then they will take those steps.
The United States has repeatedly warned that Russia could launch false flag attacks in nearby nations as a pretext for sending in troops.
We reiterate the Moldovan government's call for calm in response to these incidents, and we fully support, as you have heard us say before, Moldova's territorial integrity and sovereignty. We respect its constitutionally guaranteed neutrality. We don't know all of the details beyond regarding what transpired yesterday, but we do remain concerned about any potential attempts to escalate tensions.
Russia has admitted that wants to create a corridor from the Donbas to the annexed Crimean Peninsula and will not stop until it seizes southern Ukraine and links it with the pro-Russian breakaway region of Transnistria in Moldova.
NATO's defence ministers met in Germany to discuss the basis for military aid to Ukraine as Russia's assault on the war-torn country enters its third month. Following a top-secret meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday, the US Secretary of Defence Lloyd Austin stressed the importance of coordinated international support.
We had a warm and candid and productive discussion with President Zelensky and his team about the support that we're providing and the capabilities that Ukraine needs, and Ukraine's changing requirements as the battle shifts to the Donbas and to the south, because we're going to keep moving heaven and earth so that we can meet them.
The Bundestag has been accused of failing to supply Kyiv with heavy weapons. However, German lawmakers have now agreed to offer Zelensky Gepard anti-aircraft systems from the country's military stocks. Meanwhile, Finland's navy is preparing for 2 days of war drills with the US-led alliance. 3 NATO warships and 2 Finnish minehunters will be used in the exercise, as Helsinki considers joining the 30-member partnership.
Well, there seems to be an increased coordination amongst the countries that are trying to help Ukraine defend itself against the Russian invasion. At a meeting at the Ramstein air base with defense ministers from NATO allies and other allied countries, the defense ministers agreed to meet on a monthly basis in order to discuss Ukraine. Also, Germany, in a somewhat stunning change, agreed to send heavy arms. This would be anti-aircraft tanks directly to Ukraine. And in a separate meeting in Warsaw, the German economy minister Robert Habeck said that Germany is now close to becoming independent of Russian oil, and an export stop from Russia or an import embargo would not cause serious trouble for Germany anymore. Jonah Calgren, Euronews, Berlin.
United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres was in Moscow on Tuesday for meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Putin said he agreed in principle with the UN and the International Committee of the Red Cross to evacuate civilians from the besieged port city of Mariupol. Guterres and Putin discussed the situation at the Azovstal steel plant, where the last Ukrainian defenders of Mariupol are holed up. The Russian leader acknowledged that the situation is tragic and said he still hopes for a positive outcome in Ukraine talks.
Negotiations are underway. They are currently running online. I hope that this will lead us to some positive result.
But the United States says it does not believe Vladimir Putin is serious about meaningful negotiations in Ukraine. After his visit to Kyiv, the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken also reiterated his promise that US diplomats would return to Ukraine as of this week.
Securely reopen the embassy in Kyiv.
Russia still has hopes for a diplomatic solution of the conflict in Ukraine, but will not sign a security guarantee agreement until the territorial questions of Crimea and Donbass are solved, said Russian President Vladimir Putin at the meeting with the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres in Moscow. President Putin also called the atrocities in Bucha a provocation against Russia and accused Ukraine of derailing the peace process. Antonio Guterres urged for an independent investigation of war crimes in Ukraine and proposed to involve the UN and the International Red Cross to evacuate people from the Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol. In the official statement following the talks, the UN said that Vladimir Putin in principle agreed to this proposal. On Thursday, the UN Secretary-General is expected in Kyiv. Earlier, President Volodymyr Zelensky had criticized Antonio Guterres for his decision to visit Moscow first. Galina Polonskaya, Euronews from Paris.
The head of the UN's atomic watchdog says Russian troops' occupation of the decommissioned Chernobyl nuclear plant in Ukraine 2 months ago was a potentially dangerous situation. Rafael Mariano Grossi visited the site on Tuesday, on the 36th anniversary of the nuclear disaster at the facility.
I don't know if we were very close to disaster, but the situation was absolutely abnormal and very, very dangerous. There were a number of events that were compromising the normal operation of any nuclear facility. Those were avoided, but of course, as I was saying just now, the situation is not stable, so we have to keep on alert.
Russian troops had occupied the site in the exclusion zone near Kyiv for more than a month before the units withdrew. Ukraine's nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia, which is still operating, remains under Russian control. The Chernobyl meltdown in April 1986 is considered one of the largest civilian nuclear disasters. Tens of thousands of local residents were forcibly relocated. It's still unclear how many people died from the long-term effects of the radiation. Estimates range from several thousand to tens of thousands.